Today on the podcast, we have Mike McDonald. Mike is the club secretary at Fortrose Rosemarkie Golf Club in Scotland. We're lucky enough to be able to go play there in July. We're really excited to meet with him and talk with him today and hear a lot about the course and his experiences throughout his career. Enjoy.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Travel Royally podcast. We're thrilled today to be joined by Mike McDonald. Mike is the club secretary at Fortrose and Rosemarkie in the Highlands of Scotland. And we are thrilled to have you today, Mike. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day there. And as you can see from Hayden's background and my background, we've got a backdrop of Fortrose and Rosemarkie. And we're looking forward to playing there in July this year. So let me ask a question just to kick this off. Are you from that area originally? Did you grow up in Fortrose?
Yeah. It's like I was born in Inverness, which is like 12 miles away. But my mum and dad, they live 4 minutes away from here in the town of Fortrose. So,
and you live there as well. So you're close to your parents then.
Yeah, really close. They live about 500 meters away from me.
I'm guessing y'all played a lot of golf together in your life.
So yeah, they took me out. My son's 11 years old, so they're fantastic at the babysitting side. Not babysitting, but looking after.
Oh, perfect.
So it's good.
So how did you come to golf?
Mum and dad. They introduced me. They were both. My father was a club captain here, and my mum was a club captain here, like the ladies' club captain.
Excellent.
So my father's has been a president of the golf club. So yeah, they used to drag me down, cut a golf club in half and take me out. So I'm like maybe 100 yards behind them, just whacking this ball up behind them. But it's good, yeah. There's a lot worse things to do.
So how many club championships have you won there?
8. Just the 8.
Seriously?
Seriously. I'm playoff +2.
Nice.
So
Excellent.
I've not played in it for maybe 4 or 5 years. It's just too busy here. But I've been lucky enough to win it a few times.
It's been 4 or 5 years.
4 or 5 years since I've played in it. But
okay.
It's not the be all and end all, for me anymore. I've won it a few times. My name's on the board, so it's all good. You'll see that in July.
Yeah. So for people who are unfamiliar with that part of Scotland, tell them where Fortrose and Rosemarkie is.
Okay, so what we have is we are situated, drive-wise 15, 20 minutes from Inverness city centre. So the airport is just outside Inverness. So any flights coming in to the city, I can see right across the water where Castle Stewart is. So for any flights that are coming in here, it's like a 10-minute drive to Inverness city centre from there. And then, you're just crossing one of the bridges as if you were going to Royal Dornoch, and we're like 20 minutes away, whereas Dornoch's 45 minutes away. So it's really close. It's central. The quality of the courses are amazing up here, and I'm,
so how far are you? I'm sorry. How far are you from the airport? Are you about 30 minutes from the airport?
Yeah, about 30 minutes from the airport. Although if you had a good rowing team, you could probably get there in about 10 minutes because it's like right across the water from us.
Yeah.
But it's so close, and a lot of the golfers make a beeline for Royal Dornoch, which is maybe understandable given its rating in the world. But there's so many good courses, including this one, to play.
That's convenient.
Which you'll find yourself.
Yeah, one of the big things we try to do, Mike, is get people to next to the world or the Castle Stewarts, but the Fortrose, the Murray, the Nairn Dunbar, the Tane, the other great course, Brora, Golspie, the other great courses that are nearby.
Value for money courses, 100%.
Absolutely. I've got a question for you. Doing some research, I found out that your part of Scotland is called the Black Isle. Why is it called the Black Isle?
It's called the Black Isle because of the soil, which is as black as you will actually see. the soil in the fields.
So it's good farmland then around there.
Yeah, there's lots of farms. Yeah, I think if you went into a local bar here, the good chance you're going to bump into a farmer at some point.
Oh, I'm sure.
That's great. Now, for people here in the States, Mike, you mentioned we talked about club secretary. You talked about the captain. We don't have those titles here. So, if you would tell them what the duties are of a club secretary.
In my role, you name it, I probably do it. It's it's the same as like general manager of a golf club. It's the same thing. It's just a different title, which was introduced with the club constitutions, etc. So, if you look at Neil Hampton or Earl Dornoch, general manager, it's very much the same. So, for my role, where we've got we've got an accounts lady, that I generally do everything else. Match and handicap, dealing with the visitors. We've got a great couple of staff next door in the pro shop. Rob Douglas, our pro, and we've got Gavin who works there. Bar staff are fantastic, and we've got the catering franchise. So I'm really just kind of overseeing all of those areas to make sure things run as smooth as possible.
It's interesting too. My experience has been that many club secretaries have a military background. Is that true in your case, or why is that true?
Yeah, maybe Murray Golf Club would have had it, but no, it's I definitely don't have a military background. No way.
Murray, our last two secretaries came through the RAF.
Yeah. So it's like obviously the airfield's right beside there. Yeah. So yeah, military wise, are you talking about the States?
No, I'm talking about in the UK. It seems like historically, famously, the club down Muirfield had military men as club secretaries that were they had bad reputations of being brusque and, militaristic about how they doled out tea time.
Probably old school in a lot of respects. Maybe those type of kind of people were in there at the time. But I've been here 19 years. When I did first start here, there was people knocked on my door and said, "Look, can I speak to the club secretary?" And I said, "Yeah, I am the club secretary," but we couldn't believe how young I was. They were expecting some guy in their 60s, 70s, So yeah, things have changed. I think having younger guys, in a position like Stevie at Murray Golf Club. Neil's not dissimilar age to me at Royal Dornoch. Nairn's going to be the same. Castle Stewart, Jeremy there. So yeah, it's a younger element there nowadays.
How old were you when you became the secretary?
I was 29.
Wow, that is young. So how did you come to be the club secretary?
So this has been my club all my life. I was always a member here, through my mum and dad. And it's like, I didn't come to this job when I left, higher education, but it was a case of I was a teacher for 9 years and then I got a little bit bored of that. So then this job came up and the previous secretary was here, probably 20 years plus, and she was retiring. I applied for it. They knew me here anyway. So I was lucky enough to get offered the position.
What kind of background do you have to get a job like that?
Being able to speak to people is a good starting point. I dealt with customer service, admin, computers, and all that. So
being a good golfer doesn't hurt.
Being a good golfer
on the resume,
or a decent golfer helps. But I had a good background, and people knew me here. So it's bringing the club forward, because it's a lot different from what it was when I first started here.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm excited.
Go ahead, Hayden.
Yeah, I'm excited to be able to play in July. My first trip to Scotland is going to be in this July, and we're lucky enough to be able to come and play Fortrose and Rosemarkie. And y'all have a lot to be proud of. Can you tell me a little bit about the club so I can kind of start getting a feel for where I'm coming?
Yeah, well, the club's it's the 15th oldest club in the world, 1793. You'll see you'll see when you arrive at the golf club, and maybe even if you're up in the clubhouse there, it's like it's got 1793 in the bank, and it's, there's some great new courses that are being constructed in the UK and Scotland, like Dumbarnie, but they don't have a history like we do. And it's great meeting people, even the Scottish Golf Tourism Week we go to, just to tell them about the history of the golf club, So I, with this course here, this course was taken over during the Second World War. So they actually took over the course, the military, and they used it as a training base for training people on land and actually sea landing tactics as well. So, and the beaches, they assumed at the time were very similar, to the ones used in the D-Day landings. So when I talk at the Scottish Golf Tourism Week, they're amazed, about, how this is a golf club, but the history behind it is amazing as well.
Now, James Braid redesigned the course in 1932, but who was the original architect?
I believe, there is no record of that, and it's obviously just a members golf club where, the club was obviously created, and it was like 6 holes, 12 holes when they'd managed to buy up the land in the 1930s, from the farmers. And it's amazing, like the bits of paper that were used to buy the land off a farmer or whatever it may have been. When I first started the job here, there was a brown packet, and it was just little bits of paper, obviously they paid, bought up bits by bits by bits. It's amazing how they can fit 18 holes in here, but once they got the land, they invited James Braid along to do a design of the golf course. So up in the clubhouse itself, you'll see, you can see original plans from James Braid, so it's all there. It's I've got constitutions and club minutes going back into the 1880s, so it's the writing is a lot neater than mine was, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that's true. I've seen some of that. We for a while I was the unofficial club historian at Murray, so we had a captain there, John Thompson, and I would write every time he did a newsletter. I'd write a historical piece about the club, and it was fascinating to see the old documents and so forth. But one of the things that stands out about your club, Mike, is that I saw a discrepancy. I know that you said that you're the 15th oldest and that the club was founded in 1793, but golf's been played there as early as like 1702, right? I read somewhere that you're the 4th oldest golf club in the world.
So, as records go, like there's records going back to 1702. So from that date in 1702, there's actually a letter written by a farmer, funnily enough, that said, I'm going to play golf in Shannonry. So it's Chanonr. It's Shannonry, so just obviously one of the holes is called Shannonry, and it makes reference to he shouldn't be playing golf on a Sunday. And that's in one of the books I'll give you when you're here, so you can take that away and have a good read of it, on your plane journey.
That would be wonderful. But that Shannonry, is that the name of the peninsula that you're on?
Shannonry is now called Fortrose.
Ah, gotcha.
Nice.
That was the original name of the course.
Gotcha. And how many members do you have now?
Sorry. Pardon me?
How many members do you have now?
Members, we've got 1,100 members here now.
And how many visitor rounds do you get a year?
I mean, the last 2 years have just been so
right. Pre-COVID, or what do you hope to do this year?
Yeah, I mean, we have to keep a happy medium because there's so many members here as well. So if you look at Saturdays and Sundays, we need to make sure there's as many priority tee times for the members as possible. For a lot of them, that's their only time off. So I mean, stats wise, there'll be a few thousand rounds here played every year, but it's just keeping the members happy. The last thing I want is for a member not to be able to get a tee time on a Saturday when it's the only time they can play. So during the week, we don't have the members' priority times, so we can fit in the visitors as needed, and it seems to work quite good. It's you'll get members that moan about visitors being slow around the course, but it works both ways. You've got visitors who might moan about members being slow as well. So it's generally speaking, you should be around here in under 4 hours. It's so. Yeah, some people are taking longer than others. I think they watch too much Sky TV, where they're watching these pros on the TV hitting shots over a minute and a half long, So it's you'll see it when you walk the fairways. You don't need golf buggies here. It's probably one of the best walking courses you'll come across.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, Hayden. I don't know that if you knew this, but a lot of clubs like Fortrose and Rosemarkie, that visitor income is a huge part of their income because they tend to spend more in the pro shop while they're there. They tend to have drinks and eat there. It's a big deal to you guys, right? I mean, it helps keep the member subscriptions down.
100%. Our annual membership fees here, I'm not sure what it is in dollars just now, but it's like £480 a year, 480. For a country member, international member, it's £300 a year.
So for those of you at home, a member there has full privileges for $700 a year, and the country member would be about $420.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they can
play. Yeah, it's comparable. It's comparable at Murray.
Yeah, I think they'll be very similar price-wise, and Donic's probably a bit more expensive, and Nairn would be probably double the price of that. But being you've got all the privileges as an ordinary playing member here as well. So it's good.
It's crazy.
Yeah, Mike, at my club here, my monthly bill is $350.
That's crazy.
Right?
And to join the top,
what's that?
And that's on the lower end.
Yeah,
that would be on the lower end. I mean, there are a lot of people. Well, it's crazy how expensive golf is here.
Yeah, I mean, what we did in 2020, when everything was locked down initially, is obviously there was various suggestions coming from committee members, but we introduced an overseas lifetime membership, international membership. So, like for the overseas people, you'll see them maybe once, twice a year. So we managed to raise about £125,000, which kind of sucked up a lot of the visitor income that we were going to miss out on. On the back of, I think the first 3 weeks of lockdown, I spent all my time in the office upstairs myself, sorting out refunds and trying to reschedule them for the following year. And it was easy. But we want to. We certainly didn't want to say, look, no, you've lost out on your fees. It's not the golf club's fault. We want to look after them, and that's the main thing. Is whether we're going to reschedule them for last year or this year, we're still doing that now. So they're able to come. They've paid a deposit payment, so let's look after them. It's not their fault.
Yeah. Well, you've got a beautiful course, and you've got a lot to be proud of, as Hayden said. But you've gotten a lot of recognition lately, right? I mean, when you think about it, you were recognized as number 30 in the top 100 most fun courses in Great Britain and Ireland, number 47 in the top 100 courses in Scotland. You won Golf Tourism Awards, I think, in 2017 and 2018 for being the best value for the golfing experience. And in 2010, you hosted 2 national competitions. It's amazing that the course isn't more widely known, and I know that's something that you're working on. But with all that recognition and those achievements, what makes the course itself so special?
I just think it's one of the most unique. I've played golf in the States, and I've played in a lot of places around the world. So I think it's probably one of the most unique courses you'll ever see. You're surrounded by the sea on 3 sides. We've got a dolphin colony here. There's various things within the golf course that it's got so much history behind it. We've got an ice house on the right-hand side of the 5th green, which they used to use when they did the fishing way back in the day. And obviously freezers were, not in kind of invented at that time. So they used to freeze keep the fish in these ice houses to keep them kind of fresh as possible. It's when I go to the Scottish Golf Tourism Week, maybe 15 minutes is not enough time to talk about the course and the history behind it, you know. So it's it's amazing when you see it. It's you know, even when you see it from the air with the Scottish Golf Tourism Week tour operators fly over, they just think it's amazing. You know, you could send like the pictures in your background there, Jeff, you know, as many pictures as you want, but to actually fly over this course, it's amazing.
Yeah,
we've got a massive range out there. Even Bryson DeChambeau would struggle to hit out of it. You know, it's about 450 yards long. You know.
Did you hear that, Hayden? It's massive.
Yeah.
That's something, Mike, that he and I joke about. The everybody I know in the UK, when they say that something's really big, they use the word massive, but no one says it like I just said it. No one says massive. They say it like this: it's massive. There's this whole head bob and their eyes closed, and they.
I'm just trying to keep my head straight so you can see me on the screen. Yeah, that's it.
What kind of wildlife do y'all get on the course?
So in addition to the dolphin colony we've got here, so when you're playing the fourth and fifth, you know, you look to your left-hand side, you'll see the dolphins more times than not. You know, so that's just it's so unique. You know, seals here, kestrels. Yeah, it's pretty unique. You know, there's a lot of kind of dog walkers here. Go down the beach, you'll see them when you're here as well. You know, so it's it's a beautiful place. You know, there's obviously rabbits, but we've managed to eradicate them over time. You know, you don't want on a golf course. You know?
Yeah.
So it's it's a beautiful place. You know, you've got a lighthouse there at the back of the fourth green. You know, it's just like there's things you can see. You know, you won't see normally in most golf courses.
I feel like this is the type of course that you. I feel like this is the type of course that you have a Loch Ness monster that kind of lives there.
Yeah,
that's what you come to the course for.
Only after you drink that whiskey there, right? There's a good chance of seeing the Loch Ness monster. Yeah.
Too much of that, you'll be seeing everything.
Yeah, you'll see everything and nothing as well.
Exactly.
And nothing.
You know, so Mike, one of the things I think that's interesting, you know, the things that you've been talking about that make the course unique. You've got things like an ice house, you've got the dolphin pods, you've got a lighthouse.
Yeah,
I've seen these on different golf courses, but not all in one place.
Mm-hmm.
Right? At Prestwick St. Nicholas, they've got fishermen's salt cottages where they used to cure fish, right? And Murray's got and Turnberry's got a lighthouse, and I've seen a pod of dolphins at Hopeman, but I haven't seen it all in one place. Along with, it looks like you're playing golf on an island, that peninsula. It's just a beautiful place.
It's a beautiful place, you know. I mean, unfortunately, I do get phone calls here in my office from members of the public who say, "Could you tell me what time the dolphins will be down there today?" So I just basically say 11 o'clock now, just because it's a dolphin, for God's sake, you know. It's how you're supposed to know.
Yeah, right.
It's there's a very good chance when you're here, you'll probably see them anyway.
Yeah.
And if not, we'll just have to come back.
Yeah, and it's like I'm getting new drone footage done, you know, over the next couple of weeks as well. You know, with the gorse now in full bloom and it's just yellow, it just looks so beautiful. And we'll get some new drone footage, which will obviously publicise as much as possible, market it to the tour operators we deal with.
One last question before we take our break is: would you say that the fourth hole is your signature hole?
100%.
That's stroke index 1, right?
Yeah. Now, what I do caddy from time to time on a Saturday or Sunday. So we've got groups of people from the States, Canada, Europeans, wherever they may be from, right? And there's more and more caddy requests coming here. So if I'm part of a group and I just like maybe caddy on a Saturday, Sunday, just to help out if need be, you know, and I've got spare time to do so, I put a bet on with the players on the fourth tee to say, look, if you guys birdie this hole, I'll buy you a dram in the bar afterwards, all right? But I obviously have to be a witness to that. out of maybe, like, I'm going back to 2019 here, out of maybe about 60 golfers that went through, one guy had a birdie, and I was delighted to buy him a drop. But I need to change the bet, so if they don't get a 6, or if they get more than a 6, they owe me a dram in the bar afterwards.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So it's such a tactical hole. We've created a new tee over the last few years, which makes it even more difficult. We had a tournament yesterday, and it was a foursomes competition, and my playing partner was teeing off in the 4th. Yeah, so you have to be accurate. But we're taking a bit of gorse out now as well. We're making it a bit more natural, with the sandbanks and all that sort of things too, because it was getting a little bit penal, with the gorse bushes. So playing the 4th hole is, walk off a 5 there on a windy day, then you're quite happy. Believe me, you'll witness that yourself, guys. All right.
I'm excited.
If you get a birdie, I'll buy you a dram in the bar afterwards as well.
I'll take you up on that bet.
You've guaranteed no wind, and you've guaranteed the Dolphins will be out at 11, so we're ready to go.
Yeah. So, and if you birdie the 4th, I'll buy you a double in the bar afterwards. Okay.
Sounds excellent. Good.
Welcome back, everyone. We took a break. We had some technical issues yesterday that we've overcome, and we're back. We're back with Mike McDonald of Fortrose and Rosemarkie in the Highlands of Scotland. And yesterday we were finishing up talking about the 4th hole, which is an amazing hole that you have there. Are there what other holes do you have on the course that you would say are standout or most memorable?
Yeah, I think the first 5 holes in particular are, you get through there as a scratch player, level par, thereabouts, then you've got opportunities coming afterwards. But there's some gorse bushes out there. I'm just looking out the window now, and like the 5th hole, for example, is 133 yards off our kind of like medal championship tees, so it could be a 60-degree wedge one day, but it could also be a 3-iron the next day, just because it's the farthest point in the course, right at the peak of the peninsula. And I played a 3-iron there back in March 2018, and I just made the front edge of the green. So, and I'm not a short hitter like that, but it's, you don't tend to get 2 days the same here. It's unique.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I played at Murray the first time I played there as a member.
Yeah.
I played it 2 days in a row. And when I got to the last par 3 on the back, I played it downwind and hit 8-iron, got a birdie. Played it the next day into the wind, hit 2-iron, got a birdie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. So birdied it 2 days in a row with an 8-iron and a 2-iron. I mean, that's that's unheard of here at home.
Yeah, good memory to have. And that's the beauty of links golf. It's you ask Stevie and John at Murray Golf Club. Yeah, there's every day is different.
Yeah. So when our guests come to your club at Fortrose and Rosemarkie, what can they expect?
Yeah, I think they can expect, a fantastic welcome. Like last year we got awarded with from the International Golf Tour Operators Association. They awarded us with a Customer Service Excellence Award. Just the way we dealt with people during the pandemic. From basically entering the pro shop. Speaking with Rob or Gavin. Rob's our professional at the club. The welcome is really good. And people are made to feel welcome. This building, now we built this just before the pandemic came in, and unfortunately it took us about 9-10 months to complete because everything locked down. But it's a great facility. You'll see this when you're out here. It's a big office I'm in, and the pro shop's really big. And it's got like a swing studio within the pro shop. We've got a range out there just to my right hand side. It's about a 50-yard walk. You're hitting balls. As I mentioned yesterday, it's I'll use the word again, massive. All right, so it was like 400 plus yards. The bar staff, the two Lorraines, and obviously we've got part-time bar staff as well. Brilliant with the clients and the customers that come in there, just the members and visitors to the club. and the catering's really good.
Awesome.
What more could you ask for?
Well, I think one of the things, Mike, that's interesting, I think a lot of clubs in Scotland, they don't have a practice facility or practice range. It's certainly not nearby. And even Dornoch doesn't have a practice range. You've got I've warmed up there hitting into what Americans would call a batting cage, a chain link enclosure with a AstroTurf mat to hit, just to kind of get some swings in. But North Americans like their driving range to warm up on.
Yeah.
I mean, any of the obviously the tour operators we deal with, we do give them a ball token. It gives you 40 golf balls. They get a ball token, they can warm up, and then obviously they're meeting caddies, or if they're going out themselves in golf buggies or walking the course itself, so they're, believe me, they're made to feel welcome. And there's always plenty of whiskey in the bar afterwards if they have a bad day.
Why would they need that after such a perfect day? Maybe to celebrate.
Yeah, my office itself is probably like a bar. There's that many different bottles in here, so it's good. Not that I drink during work time.
Yeah. It's interesting. I forgot to mention this yesterday. You mentioned Dumbarnie at some point, and I don't know if I mentioned this, but we've got Clive Clark, who designed Dumbarnie. He was on the Ryder Cup, on a European Ryder Cup team in '73.
Okay.
He's an amazing character. I mean, just absolutely amazing. He was in the final group of the 67 Open at Hoy Lake. He was in the final round with Nicklaus. So his stories are amazing. And interestingly, going last week at the Masters, you saw Stuart Sink get a hole-in-one on 16.
Mm-hmm.
Clive Clark had a hole-in-one on 16 there.
My God.
In the 68 Masters. Now think about that. Stuart Sink hit a 9-iron. He hit a 2-iron.
Technology's changed and golf balls have changed a little bit since.
Plus he was into the wind there on that particular day. And fortunate for him, he was able to hear the recall and replay by Henry Longhurst. So you'll have to listen to that podcast because his stories are fascinating.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. He's got some good stories, I can imagine. It'll be really good to hear.
So you just finished building the facility that you're in. You're coming out of COVID. What's next on the club's agenda? Are there any upgrades or changes you guys have on the docket?
Yeah, so the next plan is, we've got a locker room facility for the ladies, the gents, visitors, etc. It's a little bit outdated, so we're going to invest money in just getting brand new wooden lockers in, make it a bit more kind of, like cozy within there, changing facilities, the showers, etc. So we're probably going to start that project probably November, once we get all the plans drawn up and we get it priced up, so we've got prices coming in. So it's just getting the okay from the members to use the money for these sort of projects, and we'll be good to go. And it's really, from my point of view, the kind of final piece of the jigsaw, because we've got everything we need. The range itself has got the ball machine, the practice nets, artificial turf. They can hit off the grass if they want to, and and they've got a short game practice area with bunkers and practice putting game. We've got 2 practice putting greens around the clubhouse, 5 golf buggies, anything you could think of, including whiskey, of course. It's there for them. Okay.
Hey, and I don't know if you've noticed, but with Mike, everything comes back to whiskey.
Yeah.
That's what the Scottish Golf Tour. That's when I go to the Scottish Golf Tours a week, I always have a bottle of whiskey sitting on the table. So I'm kind of renowned for that a little bit.
Well, that'll bring a lot of visitors as well. So
yeah.
Hayden, I feel like I'm dominating. I know you must have some questions. I'll let you ask a couple.
Yeah. Yesterday, snap. Sorry about that. Yesterday, you talked about a couple of courses in the area that you would recommend. We always try to stick somebody in an area and have them play 4 or 5 courses in one area. What other courses around you would you recommend for day 2, 3, and 4?
You know what? I'm very much, I think for a lot of the American market, they want to play links courses. I'm sure you'll probably agree with that.
Yeah.
Then obviously, with Dornoch being 45 minutes away from here, we've got Castle Stewart right across the water. Those are probably the two, most famous ones where a lot of the kind of, tour ops clients will probably have that number 1 and 2 in their list. But you've got Nairn Golf Club, you've got Nairn Dunbar, which is a links course. I would always recommend Brora. I would recommend Golspie Golf Club and Tame as well. I mean, I'll probably miss somebody out here, so no disrespect to them. But
Murray, you missed Murray.
I'm talking about within the exact immediate area. So Murray Golf Club's great. So if John and Stevie are listening to this, then yeah, I rate that course so highly. It's definitely worth a visit. I mean, there's so many good courses. Whatever the kind of budget is, there's going to be a course that suits everybody.
Yeah.
Do you get out to play?
Go ahead.
If you get out to play a couple courses a year, which ones are you choosing? If you had some buddies.
Yeah, I wish I did. But if locally wise, I would probably go Castle Stewart because it's so close to where we are.
Yeah.
And if you can get on Dornoch, then yeah, I would. I know the managers and club secretaries there really well. So yeah, Neil's always good for trying to get a game of golf.
Yeah.
At his venue and Brora Golf Club. Yeah, I think they're all good. We tend to take, if we've got a club outing, we tend to go to Golspie because we always get a great deal off them, and they're delighted to get the the bar income that they probably get from us at the end of the day. So we usually have a bus with about 30 people on board, which probably hasn't happened for a couple of years, but we're made to feel really welcome, and it's a good place to go.
Again, Hayden, he goes back to whiskey.
Yeah, they need more whiskey.
You're a man after our own heart, to be honest with you. But
yeah. But
I'm not what to expect.
Yeah, I think that the courses that you mentioned are all excellent, right? And the fact that you get treated so well at Golspie, I think that's true for most of the clubs in Scotland, but specifically those ones that are lesser known, whether it's Fortrose or Tane or Murray or Nairn. Nairn's pretty famous, but Nairn Dunbar is a really fun, welcoming club. Brora and Golspie are great. Yeah. Well, let me ask you a question. I'm going to follow up on something Hayden just asked. So you said if you were going out for, around your area, which one would you play? But in Scotland, beyond Fortrose, what's your favorite course in Scotland?
Sorry, could you say that again? My apologies. Someone in the
Okay, so I'm just following up on Hayden's question. What would be, besides Fortrose, what would be your favorite course in Scotland?
Favorite course in Scotland? Carnoustie.
Nice.
I played for you. Yeah, I played there in the Scottish Amateur a number of years ago, and I think the finishing holes are as tough as you'll get.
Well, for amateurs like us, and I'm saying like Hayden and I, not someone like you that's +2, 16 is brutal.
Yeah,
right. I mean, I don't know that I've ever seen anyone get a ball on the green. There, and I'm being completely serious. I've played it 3 times, so I've seen 12 guys hit balls onto that green.
Right.
Or towards that green. I've never, even when they hit the green, it doesn't stay on.
No. I took 4 there, and I'm not embarrassed to say it.
Well, I'll tell you what. The first time I played there 25 years ago, I took my dad. We played there, and one of the charms of Carnoustie back then, and I think it's still true today, all of their caddies were members. So we had an insurance salesman. A guy owned his own insurance business. And a couple days a month, he would take a day off and caddy, not so much for the income, but to meet people and, share his knowledge of the course. So we came to 18, and I played it like a par 5. It was into the wind that day, and on my third shot, I stuck a 9-iron to a 1.5 feet, tapped in for par. You know, had John Van de Velde played that way in '99, he'd have been an Open champ, and his life would be forever different.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
I mean,
it's just crazy.
That's one of my most memorable moments in golf. Certainly in the Open Championship history, but would you agree with that, Mike?
I would say every time you saw Jean Van de Velde, that's the first thing you would think of.
Yeah.
No, it's unfortunate, but yeah, it's stuck for the rest of his life, I'm afraid. You know.
Yeah. So Carnoustie would be your favorite course in Scotland. What course would you like? What course would you like to play anywhere else in the world?
Right. Well, you know, I've been lucky enough. You know, my brother used to be a caddy at the National Golf Links of America. So I used to go out there on holidays, and we played probably as good a 36 holes as you'll play. We played Shinnecock in the morning and then the National Golf Links in the afternoon. But then you speak to so many people from North America here that they go, how did you do that? You know, but then they've played courses in Scotland that I've never played. You know, I've never played St Andrews, but I've walked around it lots of times.
You know what? I have to stop you there. Do you know how many people I've met in Scotland who've never played St Andrews? Yeah. I don't understand. You could play that whenever you like.
Yeah, probably. We went into the ballot. The last time we went into a ballot was with a guy I knew who worked for the RNA. And obviously we went into the ballot, in all fairness, the same as everyone else. And it was October, and when we saw the ballot sheet, it was full of Japanese names. So we played the new course instead, but the new course is brilliant, really good. You know, I really enjoyed that. Some people say it's better.
Well, the people in town feel that's. I think the way they would rank it is that the best course is the new course, and the toughest course is Jubilee. That's what people in town, St. Andrews, say. But for my money, there's nothing beats the old course. I mean, you've got the history, you've got the views. 100%. And I think the other thing, for me, it's clearly the best course there. It's the greens are so undulated, and the bunkers are superb, and you know, blind shots, and blind shots off the tee anyway, not on the par 3s, but it's just a fantastic place to play. Is
that still on your bucket list?
You didn't answer the question. What would be the one course you would play anywhere in the world that you haven't played?
Because I've seen so many pictures of it recently. Tara ET in New Zealand.
Wow.
Okay.
It's the first time I've heard that. I mean, I'm familiar with it, but yeah.
My brother is now the caddy master there at Tara ET Golf Club in New Zealand. So
wow.
And so that would be my aim, is to get out there at some point.
Would Augusta be on your list?
Oh yeah, definitely. Given the opportunity, yeah. Oh yeah, I would even love to go see the Masters. You know, it would. It was such an experience. Maybe further down the line, I'll make a point of trying to get out there.
Well, when you get on there, do you promise to bring Hayden and I as your guests?
100%. Yeah. I need to meet some good contacts over the next.
We're close. We're close. Only a couple hours.
We've got this on tape now. You've promised.
100%. 100%. We'll get you out there. I mean, Robert McIntyre, do you know him? He was out there this year at the Masters. And did you watch his video that he played as he was going down the lane towards the golf club? No, you should watch that, because he had a Scottish pipe band playing on the kind of car stereo, you know, that he had when he was driving in. So it's quite good. So you should find that on Twitter.
He finished tied 23rd, which is excellent for him.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, I mean, the guy's got a massive talent. I think watch out for him at the Open Championship.
Yeah. Why do you think that there aren't more at the moment great Scottish golfers? I mean, you can think of Bob McIntyre, Russell Knox, Martin Laird, and then the list runs kind of slim after that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few in the European Tour, that are coming through, and what you find is the European Tour is probably number 2 tour now behind the US PGA Tour, and a lot of them, when they're kind of at that stage where they've got the ranking points, they'll head to America anyway, So there is some young ones coming through, in Scotland, and I think Scottish golf are a little bit better than they used to be, and the coaching is good, So hopefully there'll be a conveyor belt of top players coming through in years to come.
Yeah.
So I've got a question for you. If you could have a foursome, your dream foursome of anyone, living or dead, who would make up your dream foursome and where would you play?
Oh, you've put me in the spot now, right? So I would have to be Jack Nicklaus, 100%. Like I remember watching him winning the Masters in 1986, and yeah, you were kind of captivated by watching this guy. It was amazing to see. Ballesteros. You know what? Probably Tiger Woods. He's the most famous. Certainly in the modern era, and to do what he's done coming back after the problems he's had is amazing. I didn't think he would win a major anymore. So now you say what course I would love to play. I would love to play Shinnecock Hills again. I just thought it was fantastic. It was just an amazing day.
Yeah. Well, I love your choice of Shinnecock, but I'll tell you what, you picked 3 Masters winners. They also each won the Open Championship.
Yeah.
I think if you could play Augusta National with the 3 of them, holy cow.
Do you want to play with these guys in their prime or right now?
I think I would just embarrass myself if I played with them.
Maybe right now that they have all the stories and it would be a fun time.
Yeah, it would be me hitting a 2-iron at the 16th, and they'd be hitting 9-irons in,
Yeah.
Still, yeah.
That's funny. Well, those are 3 great choices. Can't argue with those.
Yeah, definitely.
So is there anything left on your golf bucket list? Something you'd want to do or play?
Yeah, I mean, I think the job itself is, and I think if you spoke to guys in similar positions to me, it's it's pretty full on job. There's a lot of hours, a lot of people to look after, which is not a bad thing, but you tend to get a bit more downtime, maybe February, March time, before the season kicks off again, but you have to be here a lot, so maybe the future, just, obviously travel more in the future once I get a bit more time in my hand. Once the club starts employing 2 or 3 assistants to me, then I'll just take more holidays. That'll be good. I wish.
That may be a while.
I wish. Yeah, I wish.
You'll be retired then.
Yeah, exactly. So I've got one last question. I don't know if Hayden's got another one, but my last one would be, for someone who's visiting Scotland for the first time to play links golf, what advice would you have for them?
Right. So my advice, right, was like when I went to the States and I played Oakland Hills, right, for example, I played with 3 Americans there, right, and they couldn't believe how low I hit the ball for the handicap I was playing off. So I said, well, you need to come over here and you'll realize why I hit the ball so low. So that's my best tip. Keep the ball out of the air as much as possible. If you can chip and run the ball, chip and run the ball. If you can putt the ball off the green, putt it off the green. This wind, not just here, but in most links courses, that'll just kill the shot totally, unless you're a Tiger Woods or Jack Nicklaus.
Well, that's great advice. Let me ask this. Do you literally putt let's say that you're 10 yards off the green. It's a dry day. You could putt it, or you could bump and run a 6-iron, or you could chip it. What would you putt it, or what would you play there?
Yeah, depending on the lay of the land, it's green out there just now. But if this course gets totally baked by the sun, then yeah, take the putter every time. Yeah, it's like putting on a green, if not quicker.
Right.
Don't try a lob shot. I've seen so many juniors in the past trying a lob shot just off the green. I'm not allowed to say anything to them, but until afterwards. But yeah, it's the wrong idea. Total wrong idea.
Yeah. Well, I think
you watch too much golf and TV. That's the problem, you see.
Well, I remember watching Padraig Harrington pitch. It was a tournament here in the States right before the Masters back then. It was at Sugarloaf. They used to have, I think it was called the AT&T, or
yeah,
I think AT&T was the big sponsor. But I was watching him chip from a very tight lie over a bunker, and his touch was amazing, right? And that's a difficult shot in Scotland for me. Let's say that I've got my ball near a bunker, and a greenside bunker, and the pin is, say, 10 paces on, and you can't bump and run it there. You've got to hit it in the air. That is a difficult shot for me, particularly off the tight lies that you guys have.
It is for everybody, but I think Padraig would have been brought up and hitting them shots. He probably spent many an hour after school around that green, over bunkers. And it's the same with us, my mum and dad used to drop us off just before they started work. So we'd spend the whole day down here, and then they would pick us up at 5:30 at night, and we'd go home. So the opportunity to hit so many different shots, you had all the time in the world to do it.
Well, do you remember? It's probably nearly 10 years ago. It was the year that Phil won the Open at Muirfield.
Yeah.
But he won the Scottish Open at Castle Stewart.
Correct, yeah.
And on 18, he had that very bare lie, and he flopped it.
Yeah.
Were you as astounded as I was? Like, how did he just do that?
Yeah.
I mean, off of a tight lie. It's one thing if it's in grass, but it was like hitting it off concrete.
That's just talent. I just think that's talent, and I heard, whether I'm wrong or not, that he's got 5 different putting greens in his garden, and it's all different types of grass. So, yeah, I'm sure. I mean, it's talent at the end of the day. It's just he obviously won the Open Championship just after that as well. So, the guy was on top form at that time, and he says Castle Stewart's one of his favourites, and Castle Stewart always kind of mentioned that. So he wouldn't be far wrong. It's a great course.
Well, we need to get him across the water to Fortrose and Rosemarkie, right? He may have a favorite.
I did meet him, so he signed a flag for me for Fortrose, so it's in the clubhouse. So
did he really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
I know quite a few of the press guys, so when they do their tours with the US tour, if I can catch up with them, I'll give them a flag. So I'll show you there when you're here. That one of the press guys, Bernie McGuire, works for the Irish News. So he's obviously at all the press conferences, and he's such a nice guy. He's out with this Fortrose flag, and we've got. I'll show you when you're here. We've got Harrington on it, Arnold Palmer, Jack Nicklaus, Seve Ballesteros, all these great golfers. The only one he didn't get was Tiger Woods, because he couldn't get near him at the time.
Yeah. Well, I've got 2 questions for you now that you might know the answer to. You just mentioned Arnold Palmer. Before he passed away, he started a project at Castle Stewart to have a second 18. Where are they on that? Are they still going to build a second 18 there?
You've probably got as much idea as I do, but I know they started building a little par 3 course, but that's obviously not what the intention was. And I don't think it's part of Arnold Palmer's project. But yeah, at this time, I don't think any work's going on. on that one, you know. So unfortunately, maybe obviously he passed away, so maybe things just made it a little bit more difficult.
And what about Cool Links? Have you heard anything about that? Is that back on or?
Nah, it's still off. I think there's obviously it was voted down. But I think the Fonseca seed fly was one of the things that stopped from the environmental point of view. So I think it was a mistake because it would have brought so many people to the area, employment for a lot of people as well, you know, and I know Kieran Crenshaw would have had looked after the place.
Yeah, so Hayden, there's a spot north of Dornoch. I think it's called Embo, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not far off there, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Mike Kaiser, who developed Bandon Dunes, bought that property, this amazing property, hired Corin Crenshaw, and it's been hung up in, what do you guys call that, SSI over there?
Scottish Natural Heritage.
Yeah. So,
and I think there's so many members of that organisation. I think letters just came flooding in. Objections. Well,
I think that would be good for your business, wouldn't it, to have another course up there?
100%. Yeah. As long as it wasn't a members course, then yeah. I mean, I think there'd be so many other clubs would benefit. Yeah, and it would keep people up in the Highlands more than they probably do. I mean, you find a lot of tours and you speak to the tour bus guys and all that, you know, or the tour operators. Then St Andrews is obviously number one, you know, but they'll spend that 3-4 days up here, and then they're going down towards whether it's like Ayrshire or kind of the St Andrews area to play the likes of Kingsbarns, Carnoustie, St Andrews. You know, you see names of courses on their list that I've never played, but I know they're top class. So I always kind of comment on the courses I've played in America, which they've never been on before,
right?
You know, so it's a pity, but who knows? Maybe it might start again in the future.
Yeah. Well, I hope it starts back up for everybody's sake, and for golf in general. I think it'd be a great thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway. Yeah. Well, Mike, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure having you on the Travel Royally podcast. You did an amazing job, and I'm sure that this is going to have the effect of driving more golfers to Fortrose and Rosemarkie.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
That's okay. Hey, all they have to do is send me an email to the golf club and Fortrose and Rosemarkie Golf Club, and I'll have them golfing no time at all. And whiskey as well. Whiskey.
Yeah. Exactly. Mike, thanks again. We're looking forward to seeing you in July.
Cheers, guys. Thank you. Thank you for your time. And
thanks so much again to Mike for coming on and talking with us. We're excited to get over there in July and see him and play the course. I think there's going to be some whiskey involved. Hopefully I can birdie number 4 and get me a free drink. So if you enjoyed this podcast, please share it with your friends and family. We'll see you next week.